Hi.
Yeah. You can put anything in here if you want.
Okay.
Well, I was going I'm happy if you'd like.
Oh, I have my own lectern. Wow.
Yeah. Is that good?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. More at home. You're right. Yeah.
I keep getting emails from you, but I know it's not you.
Well, Lynn, I must say I am impressed after this week that you made it better.
I think that you did more than ever. Okay, all right.
Well, at least it. Barbara, are you good for candles? Excellent. If it doesn't actually light, don't worry about it. Or do you want me to do it and you say the words?
It'll go down. I mean, you've done that before, right? I mean, I've used that.
Yeah, it's up to you.
That.
You have it.
But just I've never been at that angle.
Yeah, I mean, again, with the wind, it often doesn't light, so don't worry about it. But do you want me to do this and you read, or do you want to do it? All right. We just go with it. All right, Rob, are you ready? You ready? All right.
Is there a book, or is there something you want me to read first?
Yeah, pages 2 and 3. You know.
Oh, I don't have a book.
Yeah, so read one of these, whichever one you want.
One of these?
One of those, and then Hebrew. Yeah. Cool. You'll be good. I got taller. So. All right.
What?
Yeah. But we're going to start singing first, so you can borrow mine. That's fine. But you might want one down there.
I'll go.
And I printed words for keeping and brought things. So if you want it, you're a baseball winner. I understand.
Yeah. That looks like a wow key. Is that a wow key? They have some like that. Yeah. No, I worded my well one last week, and I did some little.
You think of everything.
Very similar.
Everyone's here for you, so.
No.
All right. Yeah.
God.
Oh no, I just have this.
I'm on.
All right. I'm going to start us. You ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Hine ma tov u'manayim, Shabbat achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, Shabbat achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, Shabbat achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov
טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. I invite you to keep welcoming in Shabbat with song, with our voices as we settle into our courtyard sanctuary. We'll continue on page 24 as we welcome one another into this space. We welcome in the Shabbat messengers of peace and a nice breeze as well. Page 24. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malachi Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachim L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malachi Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Varchuni L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malachi Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malachi Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is so good to welcome in Shabbat together, to be back outdoors. I've been checking a lot and it says the temperature is going down, so hopefully we can just breathe in the air, breathe in Shabbat, take this time to end our week and to enter into this time and space of holiness and rest and peace. It is wonderful tonight to be leading with Rabbi Hank Zub, our Rabbi Emeritus, and we figured that we have never led Shabbat services together. We've led funerals together,
Really?
some high holidays,
I was just waiting.
but not Shabbat. I know, so
I've been
we
waiting
said,
for 5 years. But
yeah, so, you know, this was a little selfish. We just decided we wanted to do this and have fun.
Micah
And-
is irreplaceable.
And Rabbi Zub has selected most of the melodies this evening, and we hope you will join us and add your voices. I'll invite you to just take a moment to wish someone near you Shabbat Shalom, and Shabbat Shalom to those joining us from home as well.
So we'll be outdoor, you can have to get pretty close to the microphone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is an honor to invite Barbara Zub to light our Shabbat candles this evening. We're on pages 2 and 3 as we bring in the light of Shabbat.
Page 3. O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Way down. Keep it right.
Good it's not the Hanukkah.
Especially last night.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom. Barbara, I think you're the first person to get both candles lit outside this summer.
It's only fair.
We're going to continue with the Psalms, Psalm 96 on page 13, and we're going to join in the Hebrew, the bottom paragraph on page 13. And these words celebrate creation, the beauty of the heavens and the sea and the fields. And the English is on page 14, but I'll just draw your attention to one line, that all the trees of the forest shout for joy. And we'll join in these Hebrew words, Yismechu Hashamayim.
Yes, this is one we used to sing all the time in the old days. So let's see if anybody remembers it. Yismechu Hashamayim, Shamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Shamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz, Yiramayam, 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 Umolo, Yiramayam, 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 Umolo, Yismechu Hashamayim, Shamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Shamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz.
And we will continue on page 20 with L'chadodi as we welcome in the Shabbat bride. We'll join in verses 1, 2, 5, and 9 on that last verse. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as we face our trees and bring in Shabbat. Lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabla lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabla shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad ishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad v'shemo tiferet v'litila lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabla likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha hi mekor ha'beracha mirosh mikadam nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabla hitoreri kiva orefu mi uri shir daberi kevod Adonai alaych nikla lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabla boi v'shalom ateret bala gam v'simcha uv'tzola toch emune am segula boi chala lecha dodi Likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat, nekabla. Page 26, remain standing if you're able for Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitgadol v'yitgadah Shemei Rabbah Alma divrach yirtei V'yamlich mahutei V'chayek kon v'yom v'chon Uchay l'chol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala Uvizman kariv V'yemeru Amen Yehi Shemei Rabbah Mevorah Le'olam le'olam le'omaya Yitbarach Yitbarach v'yishtabach V'yitbarik v'man v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitala Shemei Kedusha B'richu Le'ela min kol birchata L'shirata Tushbechat kavanech emata Damihiram v'yama v'yimeru Amen.
Page 28.
Join me together in the English on page 30. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv ha'arabim.
We join on page 32 in the Hebrew, proclaiming God's love for us. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael, Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, b'shochbenu u'v'kumenu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha, le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orach yameinu, ve'orach yameinu, uvahem negeh yomam v'layla, yomam v'layla. V'avatcha tasir mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, seated. We'll continue on page 36 with these words from Torah, reminding us to teach our tradition to those who come after us. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Amen.
Page 41, we pray together in the English. Sing the song
Of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, and earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, for soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע יום לפני משה ומרים. זה אלי אנו ואמרו, זה אלי אנו ואמרו. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. יה לה 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 לה. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Amen.
Just in this moment of our service, when the breeze has set in, when it's a little cooler and we can hear the birds coming out, we take this moment in our service to pray Hashkivenu, our prayer for the evening. You can see the sun beginning to set behind the clouds, and we join on page 42 as Hashkivenu invites us to slow down a little bit, to face hopefully restful evening ahead and waking up renewed and restored. We'll join in the Hebrew. You can also find some English words on your yellow supplement. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 We'll continue that key on page 44 as we celebrate another Shabbat. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam. Berit olam beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat Shabbat vayinafash. We enter now into our tefillah, our central prayer, and invite you to rise in body or in spirit. On page 46, we'll begin together in the Hebrew and then pause for some silent prayer, and I'll invite you to read the words on the pages or offer the prayers from your own hearts. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fiyah ki tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei hakol, v'zocher chasdei avot v'imahot, u'mevi geula livnei bneihem, leman shemo be'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayeh hakol ata rav lehoshia, morid hata'al, mechachel chayim bechesed, mechayeh hakol berachah. עמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופך הורים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בגבורות, דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Continue silently, and you're welcome to be seated when you're ready.
What? Okay. Some years ago, we used to have a music festival, and at one music festival we invited a songwriter and soloist, Sue Horowitz, and she taught us a Shalom Rav, which I like a lot, and I've sung it a couple of times, but let's see if you can pick it up, and we'll do it together, and Rabbi Karen's going to mess around with the flute.
Our float is.
So if you want to just listen to the opening, then you'll be able to add the words, and you can find the Hebrew on page 60 and the English on your supplement.
Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amha, Tasi Le'olam. Gentle peace will find its way to us as we gather here to pray. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amha, Tasi Le'olam. May we carry it inside of us as we go along our way. Ki atahu melech adon, le'ochol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon, le'ochol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Hama, Tasim Le'olam. Gentle peace will find its way to us as we gather here to pray. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Hama, Tasim as we gather here to pray. Shalom Al Yisrael Tahasim Le'olam. May we carry it inside of us as we go along our way. Thank you. Okay.
Unless Dave wants to play any more on it. If I'd known you were going to be here. There are many reasons that we come together on Shabbat, and at this moment in our service, we especially pray for loved ones who are in need of healing of body, healing of soul. And we take this moment to pray for their strength, to pray for those who care for them as well. You can find Misha Berach on page 253. We are especially praying for these members of our community: Colin Monroe, Janet Watson, Elizabeth Hill, Enrico Mascaro, Benjamin Horowitz, Bradley Dichter, Matteo Goldman, Toby Weiner, Esya Rushavskaya, Eileen Arnone, Jean Sands, Roseanne Cohen, Tom Fiorino, Barry Levine, Carolyn Weil, Stephen Driscoll, Richard Slifka, Marshall Lukoff, Anna, Jerry Spingarn, Caroline Spingarn, Beth Gottlieb, Sue Devaney, Kirby Druffel, Stanley Altman, Abraham Ben Hanalevi, Ida Kublin. If there are other names that you are thinking of, may share them with us.
Sandy and Jerry.
Ronnie Margolis, no more Schwartz.
Molly Zoll.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Bravotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So it's great to be with you on this Shabbat evening, and I want to share a story which was originally written in Yiddish. When we think of Yiddish stories, we often think of Shalom Aleichem, but this story that I'm going to read you is called Bancha Shrai, which means Bancha the Silent. It's written by Yud Lamed Peretz, Yitzhak Leib Peretz, and he was from Poland. He wrote stories in Yiddish, and he was kind of like part of the Haskalah movement, an enlightenment type of movement. He felt and hoped that one day, he didn't want Jews to go to Zion. His thought was more that we can educate and nurture the great Jewish population of Poland and bring them up so that they would be a great nation and they would contribute to that. It didn't happen that way, as we know. I'm going to share with you his story of Boncheswag, and then afterwards I'm going to ask you to get your opinion about the protagonist of the story. What do you think about Boncha? Here below, on this earth of ours, the death of Boncheswag made not the slightest impression. For that matter, you could not have found anyone to tell you who Boncha was, let alone how he died. Whether because his heart burst, or because his strength gave out, or because his back broke under an unusual heavy load. While he lived, the wet mud erased the marks of his footprints. And when he died, the wind uprooted the wooden marker over his grave. The gravedigger's wife found it later and boiled a pot of potatoes over it. Were there less of an uproar about human events, someone, somewhere might have heard Boncha's backbone cracking under the loads he carried. Were the world in less of a hurry, someone, somewhere, might have the time to notice that in Boncha's frightfully sunken cheeks, 2 eyes still glimmered, and that even when he carried no pack, he walked with his head bent earthward, as though already looking for his grave. He was born quietly, he lived quietly, he died quietly, and they buried him quietly. In heaven, things were altogether different. There the death of Boncha produced a sensation. The great trumpet of the Messiah pealed throughout the 7 heavens. Boncha is dead. Wide-winged angels swept through space, carrying the news. Boncha has been called to the hosts of the blessed. A tumultuous joy ran through the bowers of Eden. Boncha's coming, Boncha himself. Abraham, our father, stationed himself at the gate, his right hand extended in a hearty welcome, a gentle smile playing on his old face. What's that rolling noise? Well, it's Boncha's throne, which 2 angels are rolling into paradise for him. What's that sudden glitter? It's Boncha's golden crown set with precious stones, all for Boncha. What? Even before the trial and the judgment? Asked some of the saints in astonishment, and not without a touch of envy. Oh, that, answered the angels. It'll be the merest formality. Even the prosecuting attorney won't be able to think of a thing. The whole business will last 5 minutes. Boncha, however, was terrified. Then the sweet voice of the defense attorney began his argument. Boncha had no complaint against anyone, not against man, not against God. Never did a gleam of hatred awaken in his eye. Never did he make demands on heaven. When he was circumcised, the clumsy Moyle could not stop the blood flow. And then when his mother died, and at the age of 13, he was presented with a vicious, heartless stepmother, she begrudged him every bite of moldy bread, while she drank coffee with cream. And she used her nails and fists on him ungrudgingly. Through his tattered clothes, you could see the black and blue marks on his flesh. In the cold of winter, he stood barefoot in the yard and chopped wood for her. His hands were young and weak. The logs were thick. The axe was blunt. More than once he sprained and twisted his arm. More than once he half froze to death. But he was silent and always alone. Without friend, without school, without decent clothes, without a moment's free time. Later, his alcoholic father threw him out of the house, and Boncha wandered to the big city. There he went in search of the hardest work. Drenched in cold perspiration, bent double under heavy packs, suffering the cramps of hunger, he was silent. The feet of others bespattered him with mud. Their spit stained him. Carrying his load, he was pushed off the sidewalk and among the carriages and horses. Death stared him in the face at every moment, but he was silent. The defense attorney went on. He never compared his lot with any other man, nor did he claim his wages out loud. He only stood at the door like a beggar, and in his eyes there was a dog-like supplication. Come back later, he was told, and he vanished like a shadow, and then returned silently to beg his due. He was silent when they beat down his miserable wages and paid him in counterfeit money. He was always silent. Once, said the defense attorney, a change came into his life. Boncha happened to stop a runaway carriage. The horses had gone wild and thrown the driver from his seat killing him. Eyes blazing, jaws foaming, hoofs scattering sparks, they dashed on. In the carriage a man sat, more dead than alive. Bancha flung himself at the horses and stopped them. The man happened to have a generous and charitable soul. He gave Bancha the dead driver's job. He provided Bancha with a wife. He even went so far as to provide Bancha with a child. Still, Bancha was silent. As Bancha sat in the heavenly courtroom, he finally was able to look up and say to himself, "I guess they're talking about me." Bancha's attorney continued. He was silent when his benefactor went bankrupt and did not pay his wages. He was silent when his wife ran away and left him with a suckling infant. He was silent 15 years later when the child became big enough to throw him out of the house. And even when his former benefactor settled his debts and became rich once again and did not rehire Bancha, and worse yet, riding in his noble carriage, his horses ran Bancha down in the street. Bancha did not even tell the police who it was who ran him down in the street. And when the doctors in the hospital ignored him because he could not pay the 15 kopeck fee, he was still silent as he breathed his last breath. Then Satan, the prosecuting attorney, rose to make his case. "Gentlemen," he said in a sharp, piercing voice. "Gentlemen," he began in a softer voice. "Gentlemen," almost in a whisper, he said, "Bancha was silent. I will be silent too." Suddenly, everyone heard a new voice, soft and tremulous, saying, "Bancha, Bancha, my child, my beloved Bancha." It was the voice of the Supreme Judge. "You endured everything and were silent. There was not a limb in your body, not a bone which was not broken, not a spot that was not wounded. There was no part of your soul which did not bleed, and you were silent. On earth they had no understanding of such behavior. Perhaps you yourself did not know that you could cry out, and your cry might bring down the walls of Jericho. On earth your silence received no reward, for that is a world of falseness and illusion. Here in the true world you receive your reward. I pronounce no verdict, no sentence on you. As a reward, take what you wish. Everything is yours." "Really?" he asked in a doubtful, timid voice. "Certainly," said the Supreme Judge. "Everything in heaven belongs to you. Gather whatever you want. You're only taking from yourself." "Really?" said Bancha with a little more assurance. "Really, really, really," they answered him from all sides. "Well, if that's really so," answered Bancha with a smile, "then what I would like, every morning, a hot roll with fresh butter." The judges and the angels looked down ashamed. Satan, the prosecuting attorney, broke into a laugh. So what do you think about Bancha? Any thoughts about him? Paul.
I don't think it's meritorious to deny yourself that which you have earned and that to which you are entitled.
Okay, so he should have asked perhaps for a little more. What else?
Maybe some coffee to go.
Okay, tea. What else? What about his life? What do you think about his life? Is that, what's your thoughts about the life he led?
Maybe he should have asked for a little bit during his life.
Hey, that's an idea. Maybe he should have asked for more during his life. Anybody else thought about that? About that? Yeah, Cynthia.
I find this very, very troubling. I think many of us do. I find it difficult to parallel that with the Judaism that I believe in, that says that you are given, God gives you certain abilities, and you have a responsibility, if you are given those abilities, to make use of them, and to take care of yourself. And he does not take idea of a world to come very interesting, but I'd rather do what I can do in the world that I live in as a viable human being, as long as I can.
Yeah, Harv.
Look part of the field.
Hillel, no. If I'm not for myself,
Who will?
who will be for me?
Yeah, I am not for myself alone.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, Connie.
I had a totally different reaction, Cynthia. I felt like it was a parable of the life of the Jews in the shtetl.
Yes.
And that was the image that I saw. That's what I felt through the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's one.
As a positive view or a negative view?
No, that
Yes.
you were beaten down, you
Yeah.
had no rights, nobody would listen to you, and you carried on. You carried on
Yeah. Well,
without any
excellent. Yes.
punishment.
Yeah. Yes.
And the last comment about the devil laughing.
About what?
About
The devil laughing.
Yeah. About the in Judaism, Satan is not the devil.
Yeah.
He's the prosecuting attorney.
Right.
So the prosecuting attorney laughing made me think that maybe he could have done more in his life to help make the world a better place and chose not to by being silent.
Yeah. Good. Good. Yeah, Mark.
Yeah, Genesis 1, 26, 27, the element of the heat. Right, I feel like Cynthia. It's like, wait a minute, we're Jews, we're supposed to be people here that sell Elohim, that we're in the image of God.
Okay.
How is that the image of God?
Yeah.
Is that the way we're the footprints or the handprints of God?
Yeah. You know, you're supposed to carry in your pocket two notes.
Yeah.
One says, the note says that I'm only dust, made out of dust. But that's not the only one. The other says I'm a little lower than the angels. Seems like,
I made the universe for you.
yeah, it seems like Vancha just had the dust part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, very good.
It's
Yes,
not
he only
really-
got one pocket.
When you talk about the protagonist, I think that's not really the idea. It's really the society which surrounds him,
Yeah.
which is really what I think the comment is really about that they would do that they would be that cruel and not notice this person.
Okay, so also a comment about other people, about the society, community. Yeah, Barb?
Well, I also think it talks about afterlife, because at least there he had something, and he had what he wanted. So I think it's also somewhat a play of you may have a terribly tough life, it may be awful, there's just nothing positive about it,
Yeah.
but yet
Well, yeah.
after,
After all that life and just get a hot roll and butter every day.
but he wanted that. That was his
He
choice.
did.
He could have said, I want
Well,
other things.
I think a lot of the comments here are relevant and on point. I think it was Peretz's jab at the image of the shtetl, of the poor Jew who just goes on and doesn't complain. We need to stand up for ourselves and to ask for ourselves. And Vancha is just the opposite. You know, when you read the Exodus story, God doesn't come on the scene in terms of helping the Israelites until he hears their voice. When they cry out, that's when he shows up. Now, would anybody say there's any Vancha-like issues in our world? Very soon on television there's going to be a show about the Holocaust in America. And that was a kid, a real little kid, during the Holocaust period. But there's much to say that American Jews didn't say a whole lot. Rabbi Stephen Wise stood up, and some others, but it wasn't a community-wide objection. But maybe I'm wrong, I wasn't there, so. Yeah, Cynthia.
I remember growing up during the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Jews kept very quiet. I mean, when you've gone through a lot of Holocaust, kept very quiet. I remember my father being in business, and he had a very Yankee clientele. And I remember one person coming into the office and saying, "I've never done business with a Jew before." And my father telling him, "And you don't have to start now."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking,
Yeah.
really.
But it was a fact of life. It was
Yes.
And you didn't even make an attempt
Yes.
to go there.
Well, and today there's certainly evidence of more anti-Semitism in America, and there does seem to be a response, certainly for the ADL, and other people are standing up and
Probably for
addressing it.
it's more overt. What we see today is
Yes.
in your face.
I was shocked when I saw the film of Charlottesville, "The Jews Will Not Replace Us." Pretty tough stuff from the right wing, yeah. What about on a personal level? Do kids, how can we teach our children to step up if they're being bullied? Is there a way to do that, do you think? That's really important. And in a marriage relationship or in any close relationship, if you don't speak up to say what's on your heart and on your soul, it doesn't work. So there are all sorts of scenes, national and political, personal, where you need to be someone other than von Zweig. You need to say, I stand up for myself. Thank you.
Asher Koach.
And the Jewish people, too.
Asher Koach. Well,
Yeah.
so we know Jewish tradition is filled with so many stories that were written in generations past that have themes that continue to speak to us, and I did not know that story, so it's always
that's
wonderful to. I mean, I'm actually just curious, how many people had heard that story before? I've heard variations, but not that specific. So anyway, thank you so much, Rabbi Zub, for teaching us, and you can come back next Shabbat evening and learn from Rabbi Zub as well. Want to just say
Next Shabbat, we're going to get a peek at Rabbi Kiva.
So thank you to Rabbi Zub and to Will Krasnow, who will be leading our Shabbat evening service next Friday, as I am taking a little summer vacation. Thank you.
Well deserved.
And next, so tomorrow morning you can continue to celebrate Shabbat here with our Leilad Minyan or on Zoom at 9 a.m. And next Shabbat morning I will be leading the Minyan and a study on Lamentations in preparation for Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, which begins next Saturday. And read your weekly shofar for other things coming up. Just a few highlights. We'll actually have a variety of musical accompaniment joining us in August, from Batya, Illinois, to Rabbi Micah, who will be back, to the last Friday in August, Julia Sabra, who is our High Holy Day cantorial student. She will be joining us that last Shabbat in August. So come, add your voices. I can't promise next week is going to be outside. It's looking like a return of a heat wave. So,
Good catch.
yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Some social action opportunities coming up in August with a return of SSH, our Sunday Sandwich Cover, Brotherhood, Sisterhood, and lots to come. So thank you for continuing to come out and make our minyan, making our community of prayer.
Why doesn't hers blow off?
You know, okay, because Rabbi Zubson, next time you lead outside. So they don't teach you this in rabbinical school,
Okay.
but outdoor services, you have to hole punch into the binder. That's how the papers don't blow away. So, I know.
Okay.
All right, well, yes. And speaking of, just one more thank you to Sandra Traister and Allison Miller and all the Millers for ushering and greeting us and helping with our prayer books, and to Tim on live stream. We do have a sign up going around on our weekly email to help out with Shabbat services, so if you can sign up and help, we'd appreciate it. And feel free to thank the Westwood police person on your way out for helping to keep us safe. We are going to move into our concluding prayers for this Shabbat, and we added one more special prayer on page 261, as today is Rosh Chodesh, the head of a new Hebrew month, the month of Av, which began today. So I'll invite you to read with me in the English on 261. Our God and God of our ancestors, may the new month bring us goodness and blessing. May we have long life, peace, prosperity, a life exalted by love of Torah and reverence for the divine, a life in which the longings of our heart are fulfilled for good. Rosh Chodesh Av, Haya Hayom, the new month of Av began today. And so we continue to mark our time, mark our days and our seasons as summer continues. And you can find Aleinu L'Shabeach on page 282. If you're able, we rise. Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol L'Teked L'Yotzer Breshit Shelo Asanu Kigoye Ha'aratzot Velo Salmanu K'mishpachot Ha'adama Shelo Samcha K'nukaham V'gor Aleinu K'chol Hamonam V'anachnu Korim Umishtochavim Umodim Lifnei Melech Malchei HaMelechim HaKadosh Baruch Hu V'ne'emar V'haya Adonai Le'melech L'kol ha'aretz Bayom hahu Yeh Adonai Echad U'shemo Echad. We take this moment to remember loved ones who are no longer with us as we reflect on the way that they continue to bless our lives with their memory. We are especially remembering these loved ones whose yahrzeit, whose anniversary of death occurred this week. Morton Atkins, Melvin I. Bernstein, Michael Cornell, Martin Doctoroff, Albert Gaudet, Daniel Kerman, Nettie Mosias, Norman Oppenheim, Samuel Ringel, Philip Rosenberg, Rita Sherman, Gertrude Sherman, Benjamin Weiner. If there are others that you are remembering, you may share their names with us. We join in Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah v'yalmad yivrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayeh dechol beit Yisrael v'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'miran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom imromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. I invite you to keep your finger on that page as we turn back to page 5. Rabbi Zu, would you like to lead us in Kiddush this evening?
Sure.
So we're on a little bit of an oneg pause for just a couple weeks. We'll be back on later in August, but we do have a little bite of challah for everyone and hope that you have something sweet to drink at home, sweet or dry, depending on your preference. Page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzamanu, b'shabbat kasho v'ava uvratzon hifilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom tefillah lo yikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tzion mitzrayim, ki banu b'chorta
Testament Beth David, if you are under bar bat mitzvah age, you can join us for Motzi and get the first bite of challah if you need someone to carry you, if you would like. By the way, great to see some new faces here. So even though we don't have our onig, if you are new, please come introduce yourself to me, to any of our lay leaders. We'd love to meet you. Yes, Jeff?
Allison asked me, did they,
Oh,
something and she's
really?
cutting it up, so if you want a little something sweet,
Excellent.
she'll have it cut up at the end.
Thank you. That is wonderful. So there is a small onig. All right. If anyone would like to join us for Motzi, come on. Hi. Welcome. Yeah, you guys can come back around. I know. And then either you can trust me to rip it off for you, or you can. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, Shabbat shalom. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to rip off some, and you can disperse it with your family. Does that work? Shabbat shalom. Thanks for coming up. I look forward to meeting you. We're going to do one more song here. Welcome. We are going to conclude with one more prayer for peace. And Rabbi Zub, since this is your selection, you're going to lead it again. 294, we ask that God who makes peace above bring peace here amongst all of us.
What are we going to do? Oh, by the clapper.
Yes, okay. You want me to start it?
Yes.
Oseh shalom, shalom bimrumav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, amen. Oseh shalom, shalom bimrumav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Ve'al kol Yisrael, amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Apologies to the sopranos and tenors tonight. Shabbat shalom.
It's just gorgeous.
How's your call?
Brooke, yeah. How are you?
That was the
Good. It was
Good.
lovely.
We did it.
Lovely. We carried it off.
Yeah.
I love the low keys, so hopefully it worked for you. Yeah. So next time, if you lead out.